What's up, everybody? Welcome to Split Decisions. I'm Patrick,
And I'm Justin.
and we're about to break down UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Imavov. But first, we want to recap how UFC 302 went. What was the parlays looking like, Justin?
I ended up going 9-3 on picks overall. I made just two little parlays. I didn't go too heavy this card. I missed my main parlay by one. Alex Morono went out there damn near 3-1 favorite and looked like a complete bum after he looked good in the first round, but after that first round he just looked gassed and Nico pieced him up. So, but overall in the picks, I went 9-3 personally. Didn't hit a parlay, but I'm about to come back this week and fucking smack them. So how'd you do?
Hit a little smacker. Hit a little 30-1 parlay. So I'm gonna put it up here for y'all so y'all can see. As far as the picks went, like you said, I went 10-2. Jocelyn Edwards couldn't come through for me, and Alex Morono obviously choked at that juiced favorite price. But other than that, I feel like it was a solid card.
Right. I mean, to add a little tidbit in there, right? Out of the three losses that I took, two of them were dogs. They were just two dogs I took flyers on.
And also to add to your point, Miguel drop Holland.
Hey, yeah, Miguel dropped Holland, but his fight IQ was trash. And Kopylov ended up turning into a dog. When I picked him, he was a slight favorite. He ended up switching to the dog. He went out there and showed Pat's point in the first breakdown, which was, yeah, they're two kickboxers, but this is MMA. I personally didn't even see the way of I didn't think Roman would go out there and land 5 of 8 takedowns or whatever, 6 of 9, but he went out there and just ragdolled a kickboxer and showed him that this is the UFC, this ain't glory kickboxing.
And to add another one of your picks too, you did have Phil Rowe, and he was looking good in that first round.
Yeah, he gassed too. I don't know what these
mixed it up on him, but anyways, we're gonna get into this UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Imavov, taking place in Louisville, Kentucky, here on the East Coast. And I'm gonna let you break out the first card.
All right, so first card we got Puja Tomar. First fight, yeah. We got Puja Tomar versus Rayanne Amanda, or Rayanne Amanda. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Both of these fighters are pretty much new to the organization, right? Puja Tomar is coming over from one fighting championship over in, I think they fight in Japan, might be China, one of them. She's a striker predominantly. She doesn't really mix it up too much. She doesn't really have much as far as like grappling takedowns go, and I don't know much on her, so I'm not even going to sit here and try to cap and act like I am well versed in her. Same with Rayanne Amanda. I just am not too familiar with her. Rayanne Amanda, though, is 29 years old. They fight at flyweight. She's 5'2" with a 62-inch reach, where on the other side, Puja is 30 years old, also flyweight, 5'1". It doesn't have her reach on Tapology. Puja is 8-4, whereas Rayanne is 14-7. The odds right now got it -240 for Amanda. Puja is a +195 on the other side. Personally, I'm not, of course, not even going to look at this betting wise, getting nowhere close to it. For the sake of the show, I am going to make a pick, and I'm just going to go with Rayanne Amanda, simply off the fact she is more experienced. She has grappling, she has striking, she likes to strike too, so this isn't going to be, it shouldn't go to the ground, but if she is going to dominate this fight, it's going to be with mixing in takedowns, with mixing in, some probably hold her against the fence. Give me Rayanne. Give me by decision. I don't see her finishing. Both of these girls are pretty boring on the feet. So what do you think?
It's a hard one to call. Very low level women's MMA here. We got one girl debuting, Puja Tomar, 8-4. This is 115 pounds, by the way.
Flyweight.
Did you mention that?
Yeah.
All right, my bad. Rayanne Amanda, she's fought one time.
Strawweight. I'm sorry, I said flyweight. I just realized. Yeah, I probably got that. Yeah, it's okay. Strawweight.
Rayanne Amanda, her second fight in the UFC debut. She split decision to I don't remember the girl's name, but it was a decent fight. She showed some dog. Puja Tomar, Kung Fu base. So she's probably going to want to keep it on the feet against Rayanne Amanda. She got a BJJ style. She kind of want to get in your face. She want to grapple a little bit. She want to mix it up. Hard to make a pick here, but I'll go Rayanne Amanda just off the fact that she does have a fight in the UFC. I've seen her go 3 rounds and get a win in the UFC, and I don't really know too much about this Puja Tomar girl, so she's gonna have to prove something to me. But yeah, that's all you got for that one.
That's it.
All right, man. What's the next fight?
Cody Staaman and Taylor Lapilus on Tapology. They mix around this fight order. Whenever we made notes, it was in a different order. But I guess just today we switched it up to what I guess is going to be the final order. So
yes, sir. But we got Cody Staaman. This 135-pound fight against Taylor Lapilus. Cody Staaman, he's 7-5-1 in the UFC, so he does have quite a few fights with the UFC. He is facing Taylor Lapilus, who has one fight in the UFC, if I'm correct.
I do
believe I've seen him one time in the UFC, maybe twice. I've seen him against Calvin Lowren.
Yep.
I've seen him upset him at Dog Money. I do believe he was a dog in that fight and came through. And I think it was his debut on the French card. Yeah, so he's fought 2 times in UFC. It's a hard pick to make because they're two physically strong guys. Cody Staaman does have some good competition in Moura Bevalishvili, Saeed Nurmagomedov. He's fought some good competition. Aljamain Sterling, Song Yadong. These are high-level UFC names, so he definitely has some experience under his belt. I actually saw Cody Staaman live against Douglas Silva de Andrade. He lost that fight, but I thought they could have edged it to him, but they gave it to the Brazilian. Had the crowd mad about that one, but it is what it is. I'm going to go with Taylor Lapilus. I think he's a better striker. I think he's physical enough to keep it standing up. Cody Staaman, I think, is going to want to mix it up on him. I think he's going to want to get some grappling going. I don't think he's going to go tit for tat with Taylor Lapilus. I do believe he's a way more polished striker. And so my pick's going to be Taylor Lapilus here, and I'm going to pass to you on that one.
All right. So, yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat on this fight. Like Pat said, Taylor Lapilus, he is 5'6" with a 73-inch reach. He is definitely a striker for sure, with 4 KOs to his record. He does have 6 submission wins though, so he does have the ability to grab a sub if Cody tries to take him down. Like Pat said, he's got 2 fights in the UFC. His last time out, he was fed to a dog in Farid Basharat. He lost that fight via unanimous decision. The fight before that was his debut where he did win. He was an underdog, but I think it finished pretty close to even, pretty much close to a pick'em. But he won that fight by decision too. This guy does not take risk. If I had to compare him to somebody's fight style, I would say he's almost like a Leon Edwards, where he is very much going to rack up. He's not going to put himself in danger, right? But he has clean striking. He's going to get in. He's going to put a little combination together, and he's going to circle out. He's going to get out of there. Whereas Cody is, he is a wrestler. He's 34 years old, 5'6" with a 64.5-inch reach. If Cody wins this fight, it's going to be by somehow being able to pressure Taylor back to, the black line, be able to put him against the fence, maybe, grab a clinch, try to get a trip, shoot a single, shoot a double. He's going to have to get it to the ground. I don't have the stats, so I'm not going to try to say I do, but I'm not sure Farid or the first fight he got taken down or was, attempted to be taken down. So I don't know what his takedown defense is like. I don't know if it's solid or not.
You talking about Lapilus?
Yeah, Lapilus.
Solid.
It is solid?
Solid.
Okay.
Physically strong and hard to take down.
Right. So I know he's got good footwork, good movement, so it's not going to be easy for Cody to track him down and get that takedown on him. It's not going to be, a ragdoll type of thing.
And another point to make, it is in a bigger cage.
Right.
So this is not an Apex event. This is going to be a live event, so the cage is going to be bigger. He's going to have a lot more room to move around and use that kickboxing.
Right. We got Taylor as a minus 210 favorite. We got Cody as a plus 175. Give me Taylor. Taylor's my pick. Give me Taylor by decision, to be exact. I think that one's a pretty clear-cut draw fight.
I like that play too. Cody's tough. I could see him lasting.
Right. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next fight, which is Eduarda Moura and Denise Gomes. This is a strawweight fight too. We got Eduarda Moura, who is a minus 175 favorite. She is 30 years old. Her last fight, she did miss weight. She came in 4.5 pounds over 3.5 pounds over the limit. She's 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. And then on the other side, we have Denise Gomes, a dog, 24 years old, 5'2", 63-inch reach. So she's got a 3-inch reach disadvantage there. Denise Gomes, she is a very good striker. She's a tough girl. She's got power. She is coming into this fight on a loss. She had a loss her last time out against Giovanna Canuto? Oh, no, that was, okay, I'm sorry. That was a grappling match. She lost to Angela Hill. And that fight baffled me because Angela Hill is a striker herself, but she was able to take down Denise with ease. She got her down at least, I think, 4 times. Just really got her down, was able to be heavy on top and just really racked up the control time. And that is exactly what Eduarda Moura's bag is. She is a dominant grappler. She is a strong girl. She is massive for strawweight. If she misses weight again, they'll probably make her go up because of how big she is, to be honest with you. But she is a brolic, big back girl, and she is strong. She would probably be able to ragdoll me, if we're being honest. So, as my pick, give me Moura. She is, like I said, the minus 175 favorite. I'm not betting it. I'm staying far away from this, but give me Eduarda Moura. And I'm not going to say by finish because Denise is tough. So give me another decision. We're going 3 decisions in a row, in my opinion. So what do you think?
That's another hard one to call. We got somewhat low level women's MMA again. Denise Gomes is kind of good.
Both similarly, like young.
Denise Gomes obviously has the UFC experience. Eduarda Moura is coming off the Contender Series. You said she missed weight in that fight?
Yeah, she missed weight by 3.5.
So maybe
she came in at 119.5.
Probably big for the weight class. Probably gonna have some physical edge on Denise Gomes. Denise Gomes has that Muay Thai base. She's gonna walk forward. She's gonna put punches on you. She's gonna kick you. She's gonna elbow you. She's gonna bring a dogfight. That's what she wants. She wants a dogfight. She has power in her shots. She's fought some decent UFC competition. She has a good win against Yasmin Uruguay, who has a lot of upside. Hard one to call. I haven't seen a lot of Eduarda Moura, and this is her debut. She has a sub and a KO, both round 1 and round 2 finishes, so she can mix it up. Maybe an under 2.5 play, because like I said, Denise does bring that dog out of people, and she'll bring the dog fight. Eduardo could potentially get caught with something from Denise, or just ragdoll her on the ground, because Denise Gomes, her takedown defense isn't that good. She can get taken down.
Yeah. If Angela Hill's taking you down, who's a striker?
I've seen her get taken down. But every fight starts on the feet, and she has a chance any second it's on the feet because she does have that power. Hard pick for me to make. They're giving me dog money on someone who's had some UFC fights, has some UFC experience. So I think I'm going to go with Denise Gomes at dog money.
That's not a bad dog to take. I mean, I feel him.
Yeah, just the UFC experience. I feel like she's fought the better competition. Hopefully she's training some takedown defense, some sprawls, some defense to something to scramble against those trips, or if she does get taken down, scramble up back up to the feet and where she wants to fight. But my pick is gonna be Denise Gomes, and Yeah.
Split decisions.
I could actually see a split decision in this fight as well.
Hey.
I'm not saying go bet that, but if the line's juicy enough, it's one of those fights. Maybe Eduarda Moura gets her down. She has some control, but then Denise finds a way back up, has some damage on the feet, and it's kind of like a damage versus control type of deal. I could see that happening, but Denise Gomes is just gonna be my pick. I'd keep it with the money line because they are giving you dog money anyways.
Right.
What's the next fight? Just so I can break it
Daniel
down.
Marcos and John Castaneda.
Oh yeah, Daniel Marcos. That's my guy. All right, we got Daniel Marcos versus John Castaneda. Daniel Marcos, he's 15-0, 2-0-1 in the UFC. I believe the one was a no competition. Contender series prospect from Peru. He's a good striker. I just feel like that fight against Davy Grant was a red flag. So a lot of people think Davy Grant beat him, and I don't think that
It was a close fight.
I don't think
he won.
I don't think that Davy Grant is like super high level UFC competition. So if you're going split decision, tit for tat with Davy Grant, you know, you get in to the top with the more well-rounded, more versatile strikers, better fighters, then you're probably going to have some issues. But I feel like Daniel Marcos does have a lot of potential. He's got good leg kicks. He's got good counter strikes. I just think he's a good all-around striker. I do think he lacks on volume sometimes. Sometimes he just kind of sits back and looks for a counter. But other fights I have seen him kind of get the hands going, walk forward. I think it's kind of like a style thing. John Castaneda, he's 21-6, 4-2 in the UFC. Does have a lot of experience in MMA. He's a black belt in BJJ with a Muay Thai base, so he can really mix it up. He's got 7 decision wins, 7 sub wins, and 7 KO wins. So this man can win the fight anywhere it goes. He does have the experience edge against Daniel Marcos. Could potentially just mix it up, get in his face, not really allow Daniel Marcos to get off those good kickboxing exchanges that he likes. I feel like John Castaneda could just make it a pressure fight, get in his face, potentially mix in some wrestling, which Daniel Marcos' takedown defense is relatively good so far.
I don't even know.
I don't even know if he's faced it. Yeah. I don't even know if he's faced any grapplers yet. To be honest, I'd have to check on that.
Davy Grant is not a grappler. Simon Oliveira, not a grappler.
I feel like he's pretty much been matched up against all strikers. John Castaneda is not just a striker. He's not just gonna sit there and tit for tat with you on the feet. He's gonna, like I said, he's gonna mix it up. He's gonna mix in them takedowns. He's gonna be in your face. He's gonna throw a jab, right hook, follow it with a double leg. Hard one. What's the line on this? It's pick'ems, ain't it?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, it's slightly edged to who?
No, just minus 110. Put your nuts on the line, boy.
I feel like that's about right. Honestly, Daniel Marcos, I like you. You're undefeated, but I can see John Castaneda getting a win here. He does have cardio. He's been in some dog fights. He's been tested. He has, like I said, 7 decision wins, 7 sub wins, and 7 KO wins. Like he's winning fights everywhere. So I feel like he has more ways to win the fight, and that's gonna be my pick. I'm not gonna throw out a decision. Maybe by decision. I'll go John Castaneda by decision. If that's gonna be my pick, yeah, that's gonna be my pick.
Okay. So, Pat pretty much covered everything in his breakdown. Daniel Marcos, he is a flashy striker. He is 15-0. He does have that no contest where he, in fact, kicked, Ori Lang straight in the nuts. And if I'm remembering right, it wasn't just a one and done. Like he had kicked him in the dick probably like 2-3 times at this point.
Yeah, I think he got one for it.
Yeah, I think he could have got up and continued that fight, but that the last one was just like a come on, bro, like again, type of thing. And I remember one being he was going for those inside leg kicks, so it's understandable. But once you feel yourself hit that cup that second time, you got to abandon that kick.
It comes back to that fight IQ.
Yeah. So he's got good striking. He's got good power. 8 of his 15 wins are by knockout, the other 7 by decisions, which shows that if he doesn't find that KO, he can, go tit for tat and turn into the point fighter who does enough to win a decision. Where on the other side, John Castaneda is 21-6, so he's way more experienced. With the nickname Sexy Mexi, I mean, he's coming in with a better nickname right off the rip, 32 years old, 5'6", with a 71-inch reach. Like Pat said, he is very well-rounded with his skill set. Coming into this fight on a 2-fight win streak, both by decision, beating people like Miles Johns, Marcelo Rojo, and Kung Hu Kong. His 2 losses were Nathaniel Wood and Daniel Santos, which both of those are very good and respectable losses. They're not to bums. Like, he is losing to, respectable people. Both of these guys are tough. Both of them have good striking. I give the wrestling and grappling edge to Sexy Mexi, of course. I'm pretty split on this fight as far as who I'm going to go with too, but I feel like if I'm using my brain about it, John Castaneda is more well-rounded with more experience. Daniel Santos is a slow starter. In both of his UFC fights and his Contender Series fight, he gave up round 1. I went back and watched. He's pretty much trying to get a feel for his opponent. So he's more so throwing leg kicks to gauge that distance. He's working off his jab. He does move very well. So, I'll give him that. His movement is very good. But I just feel like when it comes down to it, John Castaneda is going to be able to put that pressure on him and to be able to be in his face and get him on that back foot. And while Daniel Marcos is still trying to get a feel for the range, we're going to see John Castaneda clinch up, whether it be he's going to blast a double or whether it be he's going to pressure him against the fence, hold on to him, rack up some damage, control time, and somehow get it, to the ground. I feel like John Castaneda just has the experience edge and will have the fight IQ to be able to do that. He's fought and beat better competition, in my opinion, than Daniel Marcos. So give me John Castaneda. Give me John Castaneda by decision if I'm going the smart play. But if I'm going, hey, keep an eye on a sneaky prop, give me John Castaneda by sub. And give me John Castaneda by sub in the, I'm going to go second round. Let's juice it up. Say second round sub. So
cool.
Moving on to the next fight. I keep just landing on every girl fight on this card. So it's just how it goes. We got Andrea Lee versus Montana De La Rosa, which was originally supposed to be the first fight on the card, but I guess they realized that, they'd rather throw the more inexperienced girls first. But Andrea Lee is 13-9. She's 35 years old with a 69.5-inch reach. She's mostly a striker with a little grappling in her bag. She's coming into this fight on a 4-fight losing streak. Both of these girls are actually on a losing streak coming into this fight. All of them via decision. She's not losing to bums. I mean, she's losing to people like Miranda Maverick, Natalia Silva, Macy Barber, and Vivian Araujo. Her last win was 2.5 years ago, though, and it was Cynthia Calvillo by stoppage. But the stoppage wasn't from like a knockout or a sub. Cynthia's corner threw in the towel after round 2. I guess she was just gassed and they weren't having it. On the other side, we got Montana De La Rosa. She's 12-9-1. She's 29 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. She's a grappling heavy fighter who has got 8 of her 12 wins via submission. She's also coming into this fight on a 3-fight losing streak. Her losses are to people like Macy Barber, JJ Aldrich, Tatiana Suarez. They're credible competition. I don't really have much to say about this fight, as you guys know, or will find out. I just really do not feel comfortable betting women's fights. You never know. They are literally a coin flip, and even on the coin flip, could still be wrong. So, gun to my head, what am I going to pick? Give me Montana De La Rosa. Just off, she's got no, they both have the same amount of fights. I just really, I I think Montana can get some takedowns because Andrea Lee can be taken down. And when she's on her back, it's not easy for her to get up. And if she gets up, she can just be taken right back down. I just feel like Montana has more ways to win. She could win a decision. She could take her down and find a sub. I'm not going to pick a method of victory, but I am, for the sake of the show, going to pick Montana De La Rosa. So cool. She's the favorite, or she's the slight underdog at plus 105. So
you said plus 105?
Plus 105.
All right. Yeah, we got Andrea Lee versus Montana De La Rosa. This is a 125-pound fight. Andrea Lee, she's 5-7 in the UFC since debuting against Veronica Hardy in 2018, which Veronica Hardy's actually been looking good as of late. She is on a 4-fight losing streak, so that says pretty much what you need to know about her. But Montana De La Rosa also on a 3-fight losing streak, but against some decent competition. She does have a win against Lipsky, ground and pounded Ariana Lipsky out, which I feel like that was a less evolved Ariana Lipsky. I feel like Lipsky's gotten a lot better since then. Andrea Lee does have a win already against Montana De La Rosa in 2019. So she already beat her by unanimous decision. She has a Muay Thai base, BJJ base, and she is durable. She's never been finished in the UFC. Montana De La Rosa is fighting out of Genesis, BJJ. She does have 8 submission wins, so she can get the grappling going. It will be a problem if she gets Andrea Lee to the ground, but I don't see that happening. I see Andrea Lee just kind of piecing her up on the feet. I feel like she has a longer frame, can just keep her on the outside of her strikes and just outstrike the BJJ girl. So my pick is going to be Andrea Lee by decision. And that's about all I got to say about that fight.
Another pick where we're just split on. So that's what makes this interesting too, because eventually we're going to come across a fight that we're both just so fired up and like passionate about and think that like there's no way I'm wrong.
I know we're going to throw them gloves on right there. We got to fight about it.
But it's going to be one of those, and I'm waiting on it. These don't really matter. If I'm wrong here and Montana loses, I mean I ain't losing sleep over it at all.
Thanks. What's the next one? Sorry,
Brad Katana and Jesse Butler.
Oh God.
Yeah, you take that one, my boy.
We got Brad Katana versus Jesse Butler. Jesse Butler coming off a knockout by Jim Miller in his debut. So if that tells you anything, he getting smoked by Jim Miller.
Smoked him.
The old Jim Miller. Which Jim Miller's a dog. Don't get it don't get it messed up.
He is. But he ain't flatlining people like that.
Jesse Butler will have an 8-inch reach advantage in his fight against Brad Katana. So I feel like Brad Katana is going to want to mix it up, take him down. If it stays on the feet, I feel like Jesse Butler, with an 8-inch reach advantage, and a jab, you could do wonderful things. So hopefully he can come out and implement that. He fights out of Louisiana. He is coming down from 155, and this is a 135-pound fight. So he's cutting an extra 20 pounds. So I'm not really sure. He might be looking depleted, on them scales. Brad Katana, good overall. He does mix things up well. He has a lot of UFC experience. He's won the Ultimate Fighter twice. So I'd give him the experience edge. I'd say he faced better comp. He does fight close in a lot of his fights. He never really seems to pull away and make it, for sure.
He doesn't dominate.
He doesn't dominate.
Yeah. He keeps it close. He fights down to his level of competition.
Majority decision win, so he's not really finishing people. But good overall skill set. I mean, he can mix it up well, decent striking, mixes in takedowns. I do like Brad Katana here. It's hard though, because against 8-inch reach, you know what I mean? Jesse Butler got them long arms. Obviously not the best striker. And Jim Miller, he probably had the same advantage against Jim Miller and couldn't use it against him. So I am gonna go Brad Katana, probably by decision, or potentially maybe his first UFC finish, because a depleted Jesse Butler coming down from 135 from 155, where he fought Jim Miller at lightweight. he's already kind of a big frame, so that's taking a lot of weight out of his body, and he could affect his gas tank, could affect his power. So yeah, give me Brad Katana probably by decision. But if they're giving you a crazy number on like a KO or something, and you're looking at weigh-ins, and Jesse Butler looks depleted, and he looks like he's probably not going to be looking too great on fight day, maybe take a KO shot. But my pick is going to be Brad Katana and by decision.
All right, so I'll start this off kind of piggybacking off what Pat said, but I'll add in that Jesse Butler on the regional scene came up fighting at featherweight. So it wasn't like he's fought at lightweight his whole career and now he's deciding, fuck it, I'm going to go down 2 weight classes and try to get the max size advantage that I can get. This man did fight at featherweight. He took that fight against Jim Miller on short notice. So I guess it was just one of those, oh yeah, I can make 155. Took it, got sparked.
Probably not a lot of training.
Yeah. He just came in, probably wasn't in a training camp. He was just casually showing up.
And he is on a full camp.
Yeah, right. Correct. He's had a full camp for this one, a full notice. But still being, he's fighting in a new weight class, making a debut at bantamweight against somebody who has fought at bantamweight their entire career. Brad Katana is 13-3. He's coming into this fight on a 1-loss streak, actually. He lost his last fight against Garrett Armfield. That fight was close, though. That fight was very close. I was on the losing side of that because I did pick Brad Katana to win that fight. He was a massive favorite in that. And again, he is a massive favorite in this fight. But as Pat said, he is very well-rounded. He's got clean boxing. He mixes in good leg kicks. He moves well. He is a small guy, though. He's 5'6" compared to the 5'10" height of Jesse Butler. He does have a 64.5-inch reach compared to Jesse Butler's 73. If Jesse Butler isn't completely drained and zapped from, cutting down to 135, he could keep range and pump that jab in Brad's face and be able to move around possibly and, rack up those total strikes. And he could make, the fight interesting. But the way I'm looking at it, if you're cutting down and coming down to bantamweight for your first fight, probably shouldn't be against Brad Katana because Brad has the cardio. He's proven time and time again that he can go all 3 rounds and do enough to win a fight. So with that being said, give me Brad Katana. Give me Brad by decision. But I would not be surprised if we see Brad put it on late and we see Jesse completely fade out like Alex Morono did last week. And he get a little sneaky finish in the 3rd round or something. So my pick, Brad Katana. Give me that decision. So go ahead and move on to the next fight, which is Charles Radtke and Carlos Prates. Charles Radtke is a dog. He is a very interesting fighter. He's a 9-3 welterweight who's 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. He's only been in the UFC for 2 fights, but both of them have been exciting fights, especially when he gets that mic in his hand after. Took his first fight on short notice against Blood Diamond, and he didn't look that great, but he did enough to get the win. His last fight was a first-round KO against Gilbert Urbina. He's a big, heavy striker. He throws mostly big, heavy hooks, but he's willing to stand and swing for all 3 rounds, and he's got pretty good cardio. I was expecting him to fade his last time out, and he just – or not his last time out, but in his fight with Blood Diamond, I mistakenly picked Blood Diamond to win that fight, and Blood Diamond came out there looking terrible.
Like Blood Diamond.
Absolutely horrible. So on the other side, though, we got Carlos Prates, who's 18-6. He's 30 years old, standing at 6'1" with a 78-inch reach. He's pretty new to the UFC, coming off the Contender Series last year. He's making his UFC debut, he's making his UFC debut. He's coming into this fight on an 8-fight win streak.
Hold on. Did you say Prates is making his debut?
Did I?
This is his second fight in the UFC.
Okay.
He did debut against Trevin Giles.
That's right.
And won that fight.
You're right.
Knocked him out with a straight left.
He's coming over. You're right. He's coming over from. He's fought, in everywhere from one LFA. He's in the UFC. He fought Contender Series, like I said, back in 2023. Got that win by a second round finish. Pat's right. In his actual debut, he knocked out Trevin Giles with that straight left in the second round. So this man loves the second round. I'm pretty split on this fight. Prates, he fights with his hands low. He starts off kind of slow. He gets hit. Like he gets hit. And Charles Radtke has power. Charles Radtke has very good striking too. He can take a punch. He keeps the pressure on you. But Radtke also gets hit. He's there to get. He's gotten pieced up. Blood Diamond rocked him a couple times. I don't think Elbina even put up enough of a fight for him to rock Radtke. But if I'm gun to my head, oh man, I don't know. This is tough. Give me Prates. I'm gonna go with Prates just off the experience factor, just because he does mix up his striking well, but it does worry me how low he keeps his hands, and it does worry me how slow he starts out in these fights, because Radtke, the minute that bell rings, he's on it and he's in your face. So give me Prates. I'm not super confident in this one. If I had to pick, Radtke's tough, so just give me Prates by decision. What do you think?
I like Prates as well. He's coming off 2 straight second round KOs, both with his straight left. So he's got a super strong straight left hand. He does have to avoid takedowns. He is kind of a long, lengthy frame, so it may be easy for Charles Radtke to get in on his legs, maybe get a single or double leg, get him to the ground. I haven't really seen enough of his takedown defense because I feel like he's been matched against strikers. Trevin Giles didn't really mix up any striking or any takedowns, and whoever he fought on the Contender Series, I feel like did the same thing. He's super seasoned in Muay Thai and kickboxing. So just super, super, super strong hands, super good combos, does leave his hands down. And against Charles Radtke, who has powerful hands as well, could be an issue, but could also help him avoid takedowns. Give him that extra edge on, for the underhooks, pull the underhooks, for the sprawls, could potentially help him. So I'm also going to go with Prates, but Radtke does have that wrestling pressure, and he does have power in his hands. So I'm just hoping that Radtke kind of comes out and tries to make it a strike fest against the better striker, and then just gets clipped by something and potentially put out. So I'm gonna go Carlos Prates. Radtke is tough, but I feel like Prates could get him out of there. Radtke is 2-0 in the UFC. I'll match you. I'll go Prates by decision.
Yeah. So your next
Radtke's he is tough for sure.
Your next fight, you got Thiago, Moises, and Ludovit Klein.
All right, we got Thiago Moises. He's 7-5 in the UFC. He debuted against Benil Dariush, so they've been feeding him good competition since he got in the UFC. Went 3 rounds with the champ Islam, so has some championship experience against, obviously not who Islam is today, but the old Islam. When did he fight Islam? Do you have a date on that fight?
I don't have a date on
it was? He fights out of American Top Team. He is a BJJ black belt, legit black belt. So he's dangerous off his back. He's dangerous if he gets to your back. He can throw up submission threats off the bottom. He's durable. He can take a punch. But on the other side, we got Ludovit Klein, 5-2-1 in the UFC, and Ludovit Klein's actually been a cash cow, I say, in the UFC.
Yeah.
He's won How many of his last fights? I do believe he's on a good streak.
He's coming in on out of his last 5, he's won them all except one where he had a draw.
Where it was a draw.
Yeah.
So he's 5-2-1 in the UFC. He's on a 5-fight winning streak.
Yep.
He fights out of a southpaw stance.
It was 4-5.
Good, super good boxing base. A whip body kick out of the southpaw stance. I'm talking about that left kick. Whips it to their liver. I do believe Thiago Moises, an orthodox fighter. Does he fight orthodox or southpaw?
I think it's predominantly orthodox.
If Thiago Moises is an orthodox fighter, then I do believe a Ludovit Klein body kick is live. A liver kick finish. If not a liver kick finish, I could just see him wearing out his body with that left kick, that left body kick. Fast, super fast, powerful kicks. And he mixes everything well. He can grapple as well. And he can defensively grapple. So if you try to grapple him, he can get it back to the feet. So Thiago Moises, I feel like he's gonna be in over his head in this fight. I feel like he's gonna get pieced up on the feet. I feel like his win condition to sub, just grabbing Ludovit's back in a grappling exchange, or just pulling something off bottom. But I don't see him winning a striking match with Ludovit Klein. So give me Ludovit Klein. I do think Thiago Moises is durable. So give me Ludovit Klein by decision. But I won't be super surprised if we see a knockout.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on this fight.
What is the line on that fight? Sorry to interrupt you.
You got Ludovit Klein is a slight favorite at -135.
I like that line.
Thiago Moises +115. So I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Thiago Moises, he is a proven, tried and true grappler. He's tough. He's coming into this fight on a win. His last time out, he beat Mitch Ramirez. He did it with leg kicks. He just completely, it built up. And once he saw that he had him hurt with those leg kicks, it was in the 3rd round. He was able to finish the fight with him, and old boy just couldn't get up anymore. Pretty much just gave up. So the fight before that, though, he lost to Benoit Saint Denis, but who hasn't, other than Dustin Poirier, right? On the other side, Ludovit Klein, very good striking. I mean, when you watch this guy, it's honestly like you can never guess what type of strike he's going to throw. Very fluid with his kicks. I'm sweating like a mug. Very fluid with his kicks, his striking. He's got good power. He's a Russian, or the Slovakia Republic dog. He's just a dog. So give me Ludovit Klein. Also, I think he moves around enough to be able to avoid takedowns, to not keep his feet planted long enough for Thiago Moises to try to blast the double. If Thiago does get him down, though, his grappling is good. His BJJ is fluid, and it's quick. He snatches stuff quick. Him and Islam had very entertaining scrambles. That fight was not boring, in the least. And but at the end of the day, I just do not feel like he'll be able to corner Ludovit Klein, and I feel like Ludovit Klein gets the finish. So give me Ludovit Klein. I'm going to take the safe. No, I'm not. Give me the finish. Give me Ludovit Klein, and give me Ludovit Klein by finish.
Bet. And just to add to this, Ludovit Klein is shredded, physical freak, and without USADA, I swear that man's taking something. So I think he's going to have a physical edge, and I feel like he's going to be super hard to take down. And, I just wanted to add that.
All right. So the next fight, we got Punahele Soriano versus Miguel Baeza. Punahele is 31 years old. He is 5'11" with a 72.5-inch reach. He is 9-4 in the UFC. He has a wrestling background, but it's since coming into the UFC, he's been more so predominantly a swing and bang. Big hooks, big left overhand. He's got power, but outside of him catching you with a big shot, he don't have much. I know in his fight with Kopylov, you guys know that's my guy. Coming into that fight, I remember the lines were close. Punahele was the favorite in that fight. It wasn't much. I think it was like a -140, -150. But everybody, swore he was going to catch Kopylov. And Kopylov ended up, being able to survive that first round. And when it came to the second round, Punahele was gassed. His cardio looked like shit. His last time out, he lost to Dustin Stolfus by a rear naked choke. It wasn't even like he got pieced up or knocked out. He got taken down by. Did you say Stolfus is mostly a striker? Mostly predominantly striker.
He mixes it up.
Yeah.
He has sub wins as well.
Yeah, he does. But for the most part, it didn't look good, hasn't looked good. But on the other side, we do have Miguel Baeza. He is 31 years old, 6'2", with a 74.5-inch reach. He's 10-3 in the UFC. Dog also, he's an absolute dog. He is the -170 favorite, where Punahele is the +140 underdog. Miguel Baez's last time out, he lost to Andre Fiallo. Before that, he lost to Chaos. This man is coming in on a 3-fight losing streak.
And very inactive.
He's
not been inactive since he got knocked out by Fialho.
No, he had a grappling match.
I'm talking about MMA. He has not
back
been
in April, but hasn't fought since 2022, April 16th of 2022. He has taken time off, which is it could be good to get your head right, to let your brain heal, especially coming off those knockouts. He's not really too old. He's 31 years old. Punahele is also 31 years old. I don't see with the layoff why he is a -170 or why he would be a favorite at all, even a slight favorite. But at the same time, Punahele has not looked good at all. He came into the UFC with a little bit of hype coming off the regional scene, but since has just fizzled out. And he's pretty much looked like if he cannot knock you out in the first, you're going to get him out in the second, because his cardio is not there. And which it's wild when you make it to this level of fighting, when you make it to the UFC and you don't have cardio to go 3 rounds. Like, what are you doing? It makes no sense. So I don't know, man. I mean, these guys, they both have the ability to be dogs. Like, they both could be, but they both have looked like bums. If I'm going to make a pick, I mean, I think Baeza could have better cardio than Punahele, because he did do this little grappling tournament just a couple months ago. So obviously he's been training. He's been, trying to get back in there. So on a flyer, give me Miguel Baeza, but there's not much confidence behind it. I'm not even going to pick a method of victory, because it's just hard to tell. You don't know. I mean, he could either get knocked out, but Punahele could gas before, or gas whenever. Just give me Miguel. What do you think?
Hard one to call, like you said. We do got Punahele Soriano. He's 3-4 in the UFC, 9-4 in his career. Miguel Baeza is going to come into this fight with a little bit of a reach advantage, and I think he's the way better striker, even though he has chin issues. He's chinny as hell. He gets knocked out by power punches. Punahele Soriano is coming down from 185, and this is a 170-pound fight. So potentially carrying that 185 power down with him to 170. But also the extra weight he's cutting, you never know what that cardio is going to be looking like. Like Justin said, his cardio is already not too well. I don't think he's very good of a striker. I think he just kind of wings overhands. No real technique to his strikes. He's just kind of big and tries to hit you with something hard. I feel like Miguel Baeza is going to be the more polished striker of the two. He is going to have that 2-inch reach advantage. I think he has good kicks. He has a powerful left hook. And if he can avoid, getting knocked out by Punahele, and if he can use his defensive grappling to just avoid takedowns, if Punahele wants to mix it up, I feel like Miguel Baeza can win this fight. What's the line? -170. I'm probably not gonna bet it, because it is a hard one to put some money behind. Miguel Baeza, super inactive, 2 years of inactivity, and then you got Punahele Soriano coming down from a whole new weight class. You just never know how that's gonna go. So I think my pick is gonna be Baeza. I feel like he's gonna outstrike him on the feet, stay at range, and just be the better kickboxer. But I probably will not lay -170 or 2-1 or whatever it ends up by Saturday. I'll probably keep it out of the parlays. But yeah, my pick will be Miguel Baeza, and I'll probably say knockout. I think he knocks out Punahele. But Punahele's been the distance with some good guys. Kopilov. Kopilov knock him out?
Yeah, he knocked him out second round. Last 2 fights.
Okay, so he gets knocked out then.
He gasses and then gets finished. He got choked out and then knocked out.
I'm gonna go Miguel Baeza by knockout then. I feel like he's been to decisions though. Brendan Allen decision, Nick Maximov's decision, but that was a few years ago. Gets knocked out by good strikers, which Roman Kopilov is a way better striker than Miguel Baeza. But yeah, give me Miguel Baeza and KO, but I'm not gonna play it.
All right, so your next fight's Julian Marquez and Zach Reese.
All right, we got Julian Marquez, 3-3 in the UFC versus Zach Reese. I do believe this is his second fight in the UFC. Is that correct?
I don't have it in.
My bad. If you just can or correct me if I'm wrong on these stats. You know, it's hard to remember stuff sometimes.
Second fight in the UFC. Contender series, and then
Julian Marquez 9-4, KO'd Phil Halls on the Contender Series in 2017, which
that knockout
Phil Halls gets
sweet.
Phil Halls gets knocked out by everybody though. And he's been getting flatlined every single time he steps into the cage. So Zach Reese will have a 5-inch reach advantage, long, lengthy. Had an arm bar on the Contender Series, so he can mix it up. He can get some jiu-jitsu going potentially. Julian Marquez kind of falls off a cliff in the first round if you can put some pressure on him. Marc-Andre Barriault in his last fight was actually getting pieced up by Marquez in the first round. And Marquez was looking good. I had a bet on Marc-Andre Barriault, and he had me. Marquez had me kind of nervous in that first round. But second round came, and he just couldn't handle the forward pressure. Kind of just died cardio wise. So what's the line on this fight?
Near even. You got Julian Marquez a slight favorite at -115 with Zach Reese a -105.
I don't hate a Zach Reese play. He will hold the reach advantage. Can potentially just stay on the outside, use a jab. But Julian Marquez is going to try to come forward and make it a fight. And he is more physical, stronger guy. Hard one to put some money behind. But my pick is going to be Zach Reese. And I'm not even sure a method or way of victory. But my pick's going to be Zach Reese.
All right. So, like Pat said, this fight, I mean, it's pretty close. You got the Cuban Missile Crisis, Mr. Julian Marquez, sitting at 9-4. He's 34 years old, 6'2", with a 72-inch reach. On the other side, you got Zach Reese, relatively new to the UFC and fighting in general, at 6-1. He's 30 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach. Zach Reese, his last fight fought Cody Brundage. I'm pretty sure Cody Brundage slammed the fuck out of him, slammed him on his head, and finished him in round 1. And I'm pretty sure that was back-to-back slams in that fight. Before that or after, Drakkar Klose almost had an armbar. Somebody almost got him in an armbar, and he slammed him on his head too.
He pulled like a triangle or something, and
he slammed him on his head. That's what happened to Zach Reese last time, is he got slammed on his head.
Yeah, I thought that's what
the wild thing about that is he was looking good before that. Like he had touched up Brundage a couple times. He does have a good jab to him. He does have a pretty decent reach on him at 77 inches. He is big. for the weight class, this isn't middleweight. Middleweights are trash, but being 6'4" middleweight, I mean, it's pretty good size, especially going against Julian Marquez, who, yeah, he's juiced up. Like, yeah, he's brolic. He's a big old guy, but because of that, this man tires out because that's a lot of blood pumping through those muscles, right? And if he doesn't do enough damage in the first to have you off your game to where he could, continue to rock you in the second, then he gasses. If you got this man, if you move good and have this man swing in the air, he gasses. And we've seen it. More than once. We've seen it multiple times in the UFC. His last time out losing to Andre Barriot, and the time before that he lost to RoboCop, got flatlined by RoboCop. So for a pick, it's hard to pick Zach Reese because his first fight in the UFC was a loss to somebody like Cody Brundage. But that is who I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the dog on this, slight dog. We might even see him move to the favorite once people realize that Julian Marquez has no fucking gas tank, and that every time he comes out here, he looks good for maybe the first 2.5 minutes, and then you see this man just backpedaling, trying to avoid danger. Give me Zach Reese, and give me Zach Reese by finish. And I'm even going to give you one more. Give me Zach Reese by second round finish. Uh-oh. And I know FanDuel, I don't know if DraftKings offers it, but I know FanDuel offers props of Zach Reese to get a finish in rounds 2 or 3, or they got rounds 1 and 2. So however you're feeling, trust your gut. Always trust your gut. But me personally, I like Zach Reese to either get a second or third round finish in this fight.
Exactly. And just to add to your point, don't just take what we're saying and just go straight to the book. Just compare our opinions with how you're feeling about a fight.
Yeah, don't blame us.
If you're feeling the same way we're feeling about a fight, then just use it as an extra confidence boost. Don't just take our picks and go and run to the counter.
Right. So, all right.
Do your own research. And only bet what you can lose.
Yeah. Don't be coming to us like, oh man, I put my rent money because you said this man was a lock. There's never a lock in the UFC. We saw how look at Islam, that last fight. Everybody said he was a lock. This man came out with a split down his forehead. Granted, he was going into that 5th round. I'm getting sidetracked. We're going to move on to the next fight. We got Bruno Ferreira versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Bruno is 11-1. He is 31 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. On the other side, Dustin Stoltzfus is 15-5. He's 32 years old, 6 foot tall with a 75-inch reach. So he's gonna have a 2-inch height advantage, and he's gonna have a 3-inch reach advantage. But none of that is gonna mean shit when he is laying on the ground snoozing, because Bruno is about to flatline this man. Bruno is a very exciting fighter.
Are you saying that's a lock?
Run to the bank. Put your rent money on it. No, this man is a dog. This man has big power. He's coming into this fight off the victory against Phil Haas, where he caught him with a flying knee and then finished him with ground and pound late in the first round. Before that, he did lose to Ruziboev, but that was such a freak little. He just leaned in while Ruziboev was coming with that little check right and just clipped him. And before you know it, he's on his ass, and Ruziboev is on top of him. Before that, though, he made his short notice debut against RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez. And this man, as an underdog, big underdog, mind you, came in and flatlined RoboCop. So his power is there. I mean, it's big too, because when you look at him, he's not the biggest guy. He's not the most ripped up guy, but he can set on that power. On the other side, Dustin Stoltzfus, like I said, he's 15-5. He's well rounded. He's got experience, but he's 2-4 in the UFC. Right? He beat Punahele his last time out by a rear naked choke, but Punahele he's a bum. Before that, he lost to Abus Magomedov, who was making his debut, and he made Abus look like he was the destroyer coming into the UFC. and then he went out and got finished by Strickland the next fight. So to keep this short and sweet, you should already know who I'm on. Give me the Hulk. Give me Bruno. He is a minus 275 favorite. I don't ever like putting juice, and I'm never going to say a minus 300 favorite is a lot because you can't even really make money off that. But I think he is a safe parlay piece. I think that he's one of the fighters on this card where you can put your money on him and you shouldn't feel too nervous. But I will put a disclaimer out there that if Bruno doesn't get an early finish, a first or early second round finish, we don't know what his cardio looks like because he's either getting finished or getting finishes. So as my pick, give me Bruno. Give me Bruno by second round knockout. What are you feeling?
I want to say I'm on the same side until you said negative 275.
275.
You got Bruno Ferreira, 11-1, 2-1 in the UFC against Dustin Stoltzfus, who is 2-4 in the UFC. Who pretty much he loses to step up in competition. Anybody who's good, he's losing to, and he's beating the lower level guys. So I'd put him right in the middle. I do think Bruno Ferreira has upside in the UFC. He has power in his hands. Had a great debut against RoboCop as a plus 300 underdog. Knocked him out in the first round. Yeah, he has power in his hands, but his win condition here is going to be a knockout. I feel like Dustin Stoltzfus is going to be the longer fighter. He is going to have a reach advantage. Can potentially get some grappling going, maybe mix it up. He does have sub wins. Bruno Ferreira just seems like a power puncher. I'm not really sure of his grappling pedigree. But my pick's going to be Bruno Ferreira. I do think he gets a knockout, but I'm not going to play a negative 275 money line in this fight. I just feel like he does have a smaller frame, super compact, smaller frame, but Dustin Stoltzfus super long, kind of has a lanky, long reach that he could potentially use to his advantage. I feel like if Bruno Ferreira is just searching for that knockout the whole fight, it may not come, and he could potentially get down on points. So I probably won't rush to bet negative 300 when it'll probably get juiced up to negative 300, past negative 300 by Saturday. But even at negative 275, I don't really like it. I'd place it minus 200, maybe minus 225. And if they was giving me a little bit of plus money on the knockout, I'd consider it. Knockout props probably going to be pick 'em. You're not going to get no value on it. So I'd stay away personally as far as betting. But my pick is going to be Bruno Ferreira.
So your next fight is Rosas Jr. and Ricky Tercios. And I'm going to say this before Pat gets into his breakdown. I think this is about to be the strangest fight on the card because both of these guys are fucking characters. So take it away.
All right, we got Rahul Rojas Jr. He's 19 years old, super young, against Ricky Tercios, who's 2-1 in the UFC. He does have heart, and he has a wild style. He'll fight. Kind of a lanky, not very physical frame, but does have a kind of a well-rounded skill set. Kind of unorthodox, just hard to like kind of figure out.
Very unorthodox.
Rahul Rojas Jr. on the other hand, 2-1 in UFC as well. Does have a loss against Christian Rodriguez, which is a great loss. I feel like C-Rod has a bunch of potential and a bunch of upside in the UFC, and he's going to get plenty of wins in the UFC. So that's not a too bad loss, in my opinion. Has great grappling scrambles, but does have cardio issues. On the feet, he's okay. I feel like he's improving on the feet, but definitely some holes on the feet. His kryptonite's the cardio, and Ricky Tercios can go all three. So it's a hard one to pick. Rojas super inexperienced and super young, but does have a lot of upside and is has a lot of potential. I feel like to get better and improve as he fights every single fight. So we could see a way new Raul Rojas Jr. here, and he come out and finish Tercios, sub him quick. Or we could see a 3-round kind of scramble match where they're grappling, they're scrambling, they're getting back up. Kind of an even fight. It's kind of how I could see this playing out. Uh, Ricky Tercios, he does have a loss to Zahabi, Ayman Zahabi, which I thought that's a pretty good loss. Now that Ayman Zahabi just went out and beat Javid Basharat.
Oh, it was Basharat. Yeah.
Beat Javid, which is a great win. So that shows Zahabi's getting better and he's actually a good fighter. If I'm gonna make a pick, what's the line on this fight?
You got Raul Rosas Jr. a -250. You got pretty Ricky Tercios a +200.
Do I want to lay juice on Raul Rojas Jr.? No. But I will pick him to win this fight. I just think he can potentially just get his grappling going and keep it going. And hoping he's worked on his cardio, can come out all 3 rounds, because I do feel like Tercio's going to give him a back and forth fight. I'm probably not going to bet -250, but I will pick Raul Rojas Jr. to win the fight. What you got?
All right, so I'm gonna keep this a little short and sweet. Raul Rosas Jr. was the youngest fighter to ever be signed to the UFC. He got signed off the Contender Series at 17 years old. Like Pat said, he's now 19 years old. He's 5'9", 67-inch reach. On the other side, Ricky Tercios, who we first seen him for the first time on The Ultimate Fighter. Ricky Tercios is 31 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach. This fight, I feel like it's pretty cut dry, honestly. Raul Rosas Jr. is a dominant grappler. He is massive for bantamweight. This kid is, even though he's only 5'9", his frame, I don't know how much weight he cuts, but his frame is massive, and he usually has a size advantage. His last time out, he did get a knockout relatively quick, but it was against a bum. It was against somebody who was coming in on short notice because a fight fell out. It was Terrence Mitchell who he came in. He was supposed to fight Ricky Tercios back in February. That was weird. They weighed in. They did the face-off. They show up on fight night. All of a sudden, Raul Rosas Jr. is sick. There were rumors that it was going to be pushed to next week, but Ricky Tercios turned that down because he said, fuck that. I'm not cutting 2 weeks in a row, and I'm definitely not going to give this kid the advantage, because they were supposed to fight in front of a live crowd. I forget what card was it. I don't know. They were supposed to fight in front of a live crowd, but then the next week it was in the Apex, and Ricky Tercios said absolutely not. So now they got it rescheduled. Raul Rosas Jr., his method of victory is definitely going to be to take Ricky down and finish him, where Ricky's tough. You know, Ricky's been in wars. Ricky's got cardio. Ricky's very unorthodox. His striking, he throws straights, but he also throws wild hooks. He throws leg kicks, body kicks,
and he screams after every strike.
Especially in the third round, if he thinks that you're fading and there's a chance that he can intimidate you, he's gonna
throw a jab. He's gonna throw a jab with a kia.
Yeah, he is. He is a very strange character, but he has that dog in him.
He does. He has heart.
His UFC debut, he fought Brady Heinstein, and he beat him, but it was a close split decision. His next fight out, he lost to Zahabi via unanimous decision. Then the fight after that, he beat Kevin Natividad by a split decision. So it's like, this man is he's seen the judge's scorecard every time. Whereas Raul Rosas Jr., we saw this man gas against Christian Rodriguez when he was supposed to be just a complete just stud dominator. The next up, he was talking about fights with Aljamain Sterling already. To sum it up, I have a feeling Ricky is way too cool and okay with being taken down because he's confident in his grappling. So he's like, you know what, fine. If you want to take me down, I'll go down. I'll work for my back. And Raul Rosas Jr. is not somebody you want to give top control to, especially when he has the size advantage, because his grappling is dominant. His wrestling is strong, and he knows he's a finisher. He knows how to finish. With that being said, if Ricky is able to survive, that first round and even, maybe the first 2.5 minutes of the second round, there's a good chance we see Raul Rosas Jr. gas. And if he gasses, Ricky, I can see Ricky getting the finish because Ricky's slick, Ricky's wild. I feel like he'll do whatever to get that fight. But if you're asking me my pick, of course, I'm going with Raul Rosas Jr. simply off the fact that Ricky is way too okay with being taken down, and I don't like that. I don't. I feel him being confident in his grappling enough to try to work off his back. But in the last 2-3 fights, every time he's taken down, he hasn't snatched a sub. I mean, he's went to decision every time. So it's like at some point, bud, you got to work to get up.
Yeah, if you're comfortable on the ground against Raul Rojas Jr., you're not working him enough. You're not making him get tired. You got to create some type of scramble. You got to get up. You got to make it hard for him to hold you down. If he just lays on top of him and gets top position the whole time, then that's exactly what Raul Rojas Jr. wants.
Right. So, give me Raul Rosas Jr. Give me Raul Rosas Jr. I'm gonna say. I don't want to say decision because I really feel like if it goes past the second, he's going to get finished. Give me Raul Rosas Jr. by second round finish. I'm going to say second round submission. I think he's able to take Ricky down. I think he's going to be trying to work because he does have good ground and pound. I think he's going to be working that ground and pound. I think he's going to catch Ricky in a moment of Ricky either trying to give up his back to get up, to get to his knees, or Ricky trying to put his hands up to block something, and next thing you know, Raul's on an arm with an arm bar. So give me Raul Rosas Jr. second round submission.
If they give a good enough number on a submission play, I might try that as well.
Yeah. So next fight on the card, we got Dominic Reyes versus Dustin Jacoby. And this fight is just sad. We got Dominic Reyes, who is 12-4. He is 34 years old. 6'4" with a 77-inch reach. On the other side, we got Dustin Jacoby, 19-8-1. He is 36 years old, 6'3" with a 76-inch reach. I said this fight is sad for one reason and one reason only, and that is Dominic Reyes' career. Because if you're not familiar with Dominic Reyes, this man was a big, hyped up prospect coming up in the light heavyweight division. And at the time, John Jones was clearing out the light heavyweight division, and there was nobody for him. So here's this young stud prospect, 6'4", coming in with the same build as John Jones, the same attributes. He was an athlete in school, not a long-time martial artist, but he played football in school, played baseball in school. He was an athlete. Coming up, fought John Jones. As you guys know, that fight is infamous for everybody thinking Dominic Reyes did enough to beat John Jones. I remember watching that fight live, and my live reaction at home was I just watched John Jones lose for the first time in his career. I thought Dominic Reyes did enough in rounds 1, 2, and 3 to secure that fight. He didn't. The judges gave it to John. And from that point on, this man's career dive bombed. He came out his next fight out when the belt was vacated and lost to Jan Blachowicz in the second round. Fight after that, after taking, damn near, he took 4 months off? No, he took 1.5 years off. Came back, was looking good against Yuri Prohaska in the first round. Arguably won the first round against Yuri. What happens? Second round, started getting pieced up. He even threw an up kick that knocked Yuri out. They showed Yuri and asked about it afterwards, and he said, no, it knocked me. It flash knocked me out. He fell on top of Dominic. He recovered in time before the ref noticed it and was able to then throw a nasty spinning elbow that knocked out Dominic Reyes and was the knockout of the year for 2021. And then we fast forward to 2022, 18 months after that loss, and he loses to Ryan Spann in the first round with a jab. The man's chin is gone. I'm just going to say it like that. Dustin Jacoby, lifelong kickboxer, good striking, decent power. He's not out here Alex Pierian motherfuckers where he's just knocking him out and he don't have the death touch. But what he does have is persistence, and he has volume, and he has good angles, and he has good movement. His cardio isn't something that I'm super confident in, but at the same time, I am more confident in his cardio than I am Dominic Reyes' chin. So Dustin Jacoby does have 12 wins by knockout. He has 1 win by submission, 6 wins by decision. Give me Dustin Jacoby. Give me Dustin Jacoby. I'm gonna jump off the porch and I'm gonna say Jacoby by decision, simply because I feel like Dominic Reyes's big point to be made in this fight is that his chin's not gone. So I feel like he's going to do everything he can to protect that chin. But I would not be shocked if Dustin Jacoby comes out here and gets a second round finish or even a first round finish, because Reyes' chin is just gone. You could blow at that man at this point and he'd go to sleep. I'm sure he almost gets knocked out every time his girl kisses him on the cheek. So my pick, Dustin Jacoby, second round finish, but I can see a decision. So what do you think?
I'm probably on the same side. I do like Jacoby in this matchup, but on the Reyes side, he is on a 4-fight losing streak, but it's to good competition. And Yuri does have power. Jan has power. Got knocked out by Span as well. And Span's powerful, but not the best fighter, I would say.
Right.
So he does get caught. He does seem like he's having chin issues. He is a kickboxer, but I seen on Instagram he's been training with Curtis Blades. So maybe he plans on mixing it up a little bit. Maybe he plans on wrestling with Jacoby.
He better.
Jacoby is a solid kickboxer, but I do feel like Jacoby could throw more volume. I know you mentioned him having good volume. I feel like Jacoby will feint and do a lot of stuff without throwing strikes sometimes.
Right.
He loses against higher level strikers, Roundtree, Mirzakhanov. Did he get knocked out by Minifield, or he lost a decision? He lost a decision in Minifield, and
no, third round. They stopped it, I'm pretty sure.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure it was like a built up to yeah. No, it was unanimous. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
well,
right.
I almost remember him shooting double legs in the third round.
He almost got him out in the third round.
And he was down. He needed a finish, and he's shooting double legs.
Yeah.
And he's shooting single legs, so that doesn't show very well on his fight IQ. But Jacoby, I feel like, is a solid kickboxer, does have good strikes, good combinations when he puts them together, and Reyes is chinny as of late. So I'm going to go with Jacoby. Minus 200, minus 225. Sounds about right. I like it more in the minus 150, minus 175 range, because Jacoby can shit the bed sometimes. But I do feel like he's a good striker, and I could see him potentially knocking Reyes out. But I'm going to go with Dustin Jacoby by decision. And, that's going to be my pick.
Main event.
We got the main event of UFC Fight Night Louisville. Nasruddin Imavov versus Jared Cannonier. I like Jared Cannonier here, especially since you told me he's a dog.
Blew my mind. Jared Cannonier.
He can put a pace on people. He can mix up wrestling. Not a terrible striker. I do feel like he has decent strikes, powerful strikes. But on the other hand, Imavov is going to be the more polished kickboxer on the feet. He's going to have better kicks. He's going to be able to put better combinations together and probably have more success while the fight is on the feet, I do think, early. But Imavov, I feel like, is going to start to trail in the later rounds. I feel like Cannonier can take over the later rounds. This is a 5-round fight. So my pick's going to be Cannonier. I like the dog money on him. But it's a close fight. I do see a decision. I think Imavov can go all 5 and show us he can go all 5. But I just see him kind of slowing down later and potentially just letting Cannonier outwork him. So my pick's going to be Cannonier. And, I don't have too much to say about it.
So, I'm feeling kind of the same way as Pat. Jared Cannonier, this man is 40, right? But you wouldn't guess it by watching him fight because he does have good pressure. He is tough, and he's ripped. I mean, this man made his UFC debut in heavyweight, and then he has fights from, heavyweight down, heavyweight, light heavyweight, and now at middleweight where he is just insanely jacked. But he's 5'11". He does have a 77.5-inch reach, whereas Imavov is 6'3", so 4 inches taller, but does have a 75-inch reach. So Jared Cannonier surprisingly has a 2.5-inch reach advantage. Jared Cannonier is tough. This man has good cardio. He went all 5 against Izzy. He went all 5 against Strickland. Pretty sure, who did he fight his last time out here? Vittori. He went all 5 of Vittori.
And he beat the hell out of Vittori.
He had this man busted up. Vittori, whatever that head is made out of, whatever that chin is made out of, that man needs studied somewhere. That blockhead.
Just to add to that, Cannonier was putting pace on him too, putting volume on him, and even in the later rounds was still going. So that's kind of what has me confident on Cannonier as well, because he can continue that pace throughout all 5 rounds.
Right. So even in his title fight, where you would think his nerves and the anxiety and the pressure is getting to him, he went all 5 with Izzy. And I know the public is split on Izzy, but you have to give Izzy his props where he is a striker, right? He is a world-class striker, and he can knock people out. So the fact that Jared Cannonier went all 5 with Izzy and stayed out of trouble shows that not only in big spotlight pressure situations he can go all 5 rounds, but he did it at a controlled pace, and he kept himself calm. His next fight after Izzy was Sean Strickland, where they went to decision, and it was a split decision. A lot of people thought Sean won that fight. I remember having money on Jared Cannonier, and I was nervous when those scorecards were being read off. But Jared Cannonier did get that win, and then Marvin Vettori, he put an absolute beatdown on Marvin Vettori. On the other side, Nasruddin Imavov, he's a beautiful striker. Like, his striking is clean. There's no fat on his punches. He doesn't waste a lot of movements. Everything he throws, every feint he throws, there is purpose behind it. But Imavov is the type that he starts strong and fast in the first round. Those strikes are coming in hot, and they got some heat behind them. But as the fight progresses, he loses steam on those punches.
The volume starts to slow down too.
The volume slows down, and he loses. His cardio starts getting worse and worse. So Imavov is a -140 favorite. Jared Cannonier is a +120. I told Pat before the podcast started, it blew my mind that Jared Cannonier was a dog, especially watching their fights back and seeing how Imavov is and seeing how Jared Cannonier has fought the better competition. It's hard for me to confidently pick Jared. Like, I'm not over here like, oh, this is lock of the year, whatever. I think it's going to be a split decision. I think this fight goes a close fight. I think this fight goes to a decision, and I think it's going to come down to what does a judge see more important? Are they going to see the numbers on Imavov's side and think that – because he'll probably rack up 20, 30 more strikes than Cannonier, but what we're going to see is the image of Imavov tired in the 5th and Cannonier putting that pressure on him still, and maybe – Jared is laying more damage, done more damage, and they're noticing that, Imavov has got a busted up face like Vettori did. So it's hard to pick confidently, but if you're going to give me Jared Cannonier at dog money, and I know that he can go all 5 and he can win fights that are close, I'm going to take it. So give me Jared Cannonier. Give me Jared Cannonier by a decision, and if you even want to be sneaky about it, you can even play a split decision, which are insane odds. They're insane usually. So that's going to be my pick, is Jared Cannonier. So
cool. Yeah, I do think it goes to decision as well. So I like Cannonier by decision, especially if they're giving me +300 or +400 on it.
Right. So
appreciate y'all watching the second official episode of the Split Decisions podcast. I'm Patrick.
This is Justin.
And we hope y'all enjoy UFC Fight Night.
See y'all next week.